Greetings, Invader Scum. This is Pincognito, aka Pinko, and here with the low-level adventures of Fallax Bellator. So, Fallax Bellator means deceptive warrior. And the idea of this character is he is a mound maker, for now, maybe later a Finger of Rosaria, who has donned the Fallen Knight garb in order to deceive his enemies into thinking that he's a cowardly, soldier, when in fact he's a skilled invader, at least semi-skilled. And I've donned kind of the bog standard new to Dark Souls 3 outfit and outload here, but the Fallen Knight set, Irithyll straight sword, grass crest shield. Any invader watching this has seen this loadout many times, and it is usually a very reliable indicator of someone new to the game. But Fallax is a non-twink invader, so no Prisoner's Chain, no Ring of Favor, much less Ring of Favor +3. And I've kept my Estus shards limited to those you can collect between High Wall and Cathedral of the Deep, which is kind of the latest of the game I'll go with this character. So that's it. So I'm not really sure what to expect in low-level invasions these days because it's been a long time since I've really done it consistently. But I'm sure it'll be fun, right? Let's go see. So just a quick note as we start this first invasion. You will have noticed already, I think, kind of a very different kind of music I'm using in this series. And that's because I'm trying to invoke what I think can be fairly special about low-level invasions. Since you do sometimes encounter entirely new players or more experienced players but with unfinished builds, unfinished characters, things can be kind of more playful in some sense, more innocent. I don't know, I'm not sure what the right word is, but there's a quality to low-level invasions that can happen. It doesn't happen if it's just an army of password summoned phantoms, but in invasions like this, it's there. There's a sense of newness to everything that I think is nice, and so I've tried to choose music that reflects that. So here we've got a 2v1 with what I would say are pretty new players to the game. White Phantom, I guess just because he's panicking, but he just completely forgets to heal, or fails to heal, which makes this a very quick fight. GG, you two. So level 23, I think I found most of my invasions kind of later in the Undead Settlement level, which is not too surprising. Now we can see the host running off in the distance. I'm kind of reluctant to head out there at first because I'm not sure of whether the giant's going to start destroying me with arrows. This area can be fun to invade. The problem is a lot of people make a beeline towards the boss, so sometimes invasions can be over pretty quickly. So this player, clearly not as new to the game as the last two we just had. Nice backstab attempt right there. But here, I think, what happens here is I think this host kind of underestimates a failed setup parry there for me. He underestimates the Irithyll straight sword, which I do all the time. Yeah, that frostbite can catch you, which I'm pretty sure is what happened here. Just caught him off guard, how quickly it procs. So this third invasion here, not to discourage you from watching the rest of the video, but for me was, I think, the most fun invasion I had in this kind of half hour of invasions I did. It was, in some ways, kind of the, I don't know, kind of the paradigm of what I'm looking for in low-level invasions. Man, that giant all over me. Look how I think he still launches another one after me here. Look at that. How much farther do I have to get away from your white birch tree, dude? But it's a 3v1, but there's no password summon phantoms. And I'm not a twink. And so it's just a nice low-level invasion, which can be hard to find. One of the phantoms in particular was pretty decent. Clearly had done some PvP. A little parry happy, perhaps, but a good player. And it was just a lot of fun. It's nice to have like a true 3v1 where there wasn't kind of crazy twinking by a phantom or a blue or me. It's just a nice regular invasion on a very cool level. So I just love this one. So given that it was a 3v1, I went across the bridge to get some mob support. There we can see the Sunbro getting a little too carried away with the parries, I think. So obviously these dudes are great mob support, particularly here at soul level 20 or so. They can cause people a lot of problems. One issue you may see me have from time to time is I do a pretty poor job of managing my stamina. This happens to me a lot at lower soul levels because I'm used to having, get the face tank parry there. I'm used to having like 30 plus endurance, and I think what do I have, 15 here, so I have to exercise more discipline than usual. So here I go for the turn and burn, I swing one too many times, and the white catches me with a nice backstab. But no Hornet Ring, low levels of damage given where we're at, so you know, I live to see another day. So now that those mobs are done, I head over this way, not to drag them to the Evangelist, who is still alive, but I want the Evangelist at my back, because it essentially creates, it prevents them from coming around to flank me too easily without aggroing the Evangelist. So I can keep this party in front of me, even though they outnumber me. But just by being in range of the Evangelist without actually kind of going to hide behind the Evangelist. So the one thing I don't really understand about this invasion is what the White Phantom was doing here. This would have been a very, very good time to kind of swarm me, like they did before, but they're content to kind of just sit back. And things may have gone differently for them if the White Phantom had not hummed back. So here, the Sunbro and I are kind of having a nice little back and forth. I like the Sunbro. Just given what he's wearing, you can tell he's played quite a bit. I'm able to get another face tank parry there. Host is clearly, well, I say clearly, but people do this at high soul levels, but that spamming of R1 while I'm in the riposte animation is an indicator of a newer player to the game, for sure. Now here, I'm dodging the fireball, and since I'm dodging, I'm able to transition into that rolling R1 to intercept the Sunbro's jumping attack. So now I press the attack on the host. The White finally joins the fight. Double face tank parry. Let's watch that again, shall we? Lovely. I was pretty pleased with that. I'll tell you that much. Now, my job here as the Mel Maker is done. But since I'm typically invading as a finger, I don't think my job's done until the host is dead. So you'll see me a few times in this video. Keep going. So this time we've got another group of 3. As our little warning tells us, we need to get at least 2 phantoms in order to successfully leave this world. This one, I don't know if the Sunbros were friends or just random summons, but I felt some pain for them after this invasion was over. So the host, we'll see in the distance, goes for a plunging attack on the Evangelist. The Sunbros don't really follow immediately, maybe because they didn't realize. The host is not prepared to encounter me though. And I would hazard a guess, this is, if not their first invasion, then one of their first. So they're panicking big time. Sunbros are finally giving chase, we'll see. Almost got tagged. And the poor host is so panicky. We don't quite see it happen, but we see what's going to happen. He jumps to his own death. And Sunbros are sad. GG guys. I wish we'd gotten to fight a little more. So we've got another 3v1. We know because the arrows at the party's nearby, and we find them right away. So we've clearly intercepted a party on their way to the boss, and so we're going to have to kind of play defensively down this long hallway that leads there. So trying to get some hits in. We see the fellow in the evangelist outfit go for that parry and another parry, so we have to be cautious there. I just can't spam wildly when I attack the group. So we get 2 hits in, get out. The frostbite takes care of that phantom. Gold is threatening us with their weapon art stance. So we're just kind of trying to approach safely. Do some chip damage with the fire bombs. Host caught me there with an R2. Wasn't expecting it. That was nice. So here I'm trying to press the attack with the Sumbro, just because the frostbite on the Irithyll straight sword is really quite useful. It rewards aggressive play because you can proc frostbite all the faster if you're being more aggressive. Alas, I should have seen it coming, but the host makes a beeline for the fog gate. So we have yet another 3v1. A lot of those in this video. So we're just outside the house this time, or the shack. This is a little better for us. We're not that frostbite, man. Being trapped inside the shack is not great, although I give chase here while that enemy was still alive. But now that it's gone, this is not a great place for me to fight these two. So I make my way back outside. Host follows. Host dies. I almost get the Sumbro here, but a little cheeky use of force prevents me from finishing him off. So here we've got a 2v1, and the Sumbro should be familiar. It's Vogue. I have an unusual name for a Dark Souls character. He's the same one we fought back in that great 3v1. I really liked this Sumbro. He's like a nice level appropriate phantom for this area. It's always nice to see. He's a decent player too, so it was nice. He's, like I said, he's perhaps a little spammy with that Estus parry, but I kind of liked fighting him overall. It's nice to have a challenge presented by a phantom that is not due to the fact that that they're using gear that's well beyond what you could acquire around here, or because they're in fact soul level 120. So I'm guessing like a lot of the parry attempts that Sumbro is doing aren't bad. He tried to parry me after my second swing there in the hopes I would go for the third, and I'm guessing that works a lot of the time. Giant does not play. I don't remember him always being quite so aggressive outside of the gravestone area, but man, he is just peppering us back here. Host makes the mistake of separating from his Sumbro. Sumbro celebrates, perhaps sarcastically, but we had some fun fights. So I was really happy to find a phantom like him during these invasions. So again, we spawned just outside this little ramshackle shack near the graveyard. Things are pretty quiet by the graveyard, but I take a little peek just to see if the party's down there. But given where I spawned, and since it's so quiet here, it's at least a good chance the party's kind of passed me and headed towards the fog wall while I was spawning in. And indeed, we find our password summon Sumbro. Host says hello. Sumbro decides to take a minute, think about drinking an Estus, And that's that. And since I'm a mount maker, I can't stick around to fight the host. Or I guess I don't have to endure any fogwall cheese. But that's the end of this one. So another invasion where we spawn by the shack, but I could see as soon as I came into the world the host taking damage off in the distance. So there's no guesswork required, so I have to thread my way through the giant's assault. And I catch sight of the white phantom. Try to tag him as he comes in, but I accidentally kick, of course. And I was reluctant to come out and engage there just because I didn't have any read on where the host was, and so I didn't want to get ambushed. Probably a little overly conservative in my play there, because essentially the only outcome is that I gave them time to get a blue into the world, which is a problem for me because, you know, 3v1s are tough under any circumstance, more or less. And this blue, we can see in the fetching white dress and hideous ragged mask, is sporting your standard issue low-level invader weapon, the Dark Hand, which is something you absolutely have to watch out for at low soul levels. It does a ton of damage. And the combination of the mage with 2 melee opponents is really problematic. Even if that mage does almost no damage, it's very easy for them to stun lock me and then for me just to get obliterated by a string of R1s from the host and the blue. So the blue and I both pivot for the backstabs, but I get out-pivoted. And then I'm able to safely retreat to get an Estus, but as I'm backing off again, I get stuck in this little corner. I get stuck on the tree root. And by the time I get out, I'm in bad shape, and I just get caught. But I just got outplayed. It happens. And the nooblets are happy. Look at that. Look at that joy. I don't mind that at all. GG. So I just wanted to talk about briefly about why I made a non-twink low-level invader. And it's because, I don't know, it just makes it easier in some ways. I don't have any compunction about using the Estus I've got available, using the tools I have available. I don't feel like I have to hold back in any way, which is kind of freeing in some ways. Because it's very, very difficult to create a build that can handle both nasty low-level ganks, you know, comprised of a host with an Hornet Ring and a Prisoner's Chain and Ring of Favor +3 that they had dropped for them, plus, you know, 3 Password Summon Phantoms. It's hard to make a build that can tangle with that and is not just a straight-up Terminator against people like this, you know, 2 ordinary players that are at appropriate loadouts and gear, you know, and rings for the level. So I don't know. So I think in a lot of the invasions we've seen in this video, it works out alright for me. Most of the invasions are dealing with players who are level appropriate. You know, if I had gotten 10 invasions that featured 2 or more Password Summon Phantoms, I probably would have been a lot less sanguine about how things went. But that's just kind of the trade-off you make at low soul levels. GG White Phantom. It was a decent fight. Unfortunately, I can't get to the host before I vanish. Man, Mailmakers is frustrating. So just to follow up a little bit more about kind of the issue of how to deal with low-level invasions. I think one of the difficulties I personally have is it's just so hard to kind of de-escalate your build if you come across a normal host. I mean, you can limit yourself by, you know, only drinking 1 Estus, right? That's a pretty common trait amongst more experienced invaders. I know Saint Riot does that, and there's other invaders I know do that. And that certainly makes things more fair, but of course, you know, you still got your Prisoner's Chain on, maybe Ring of Favor +3, maybe a Chloranthy ring, you know, a Chloranthy ring +3, you know, stuff that definitely still gives you some pretty decent advantages. And it's hard to, you know, have a build where you can just take those off easily, right? If you've got those on, you've kind of planned to have them on. So I don't know. So that's kind of why I decided to make this invader not be a twink. However, right now, facing the meme swords across this little tunnel, I really wish I did have the Prisoner's Chain, maybe even the Hornet Ring. You know, the scaling, through talking to some folks on the Soul Level 90 Discord, particularly Sagan, who's done some testing as much as this can be tested, that their stats definitely do get downgraded quite a bit. But man, you know, something like the meme swords, it's very easy to get stun-locked by that, and I could die in a real hurry if I go back in there when there's a person with a meme sword and another person just lurking nearby, waiting to take advantage of any stun lock. And the downside, of course, as before, is by waiting, I've just allowed blues to enter the world. Now the Giants decided I'm, you know, priority number 1, and I am hosed. This is just a bad situation. I'm sure their invader is better than me. They could have performed better here, maybe pulled out the win, but I was done for. So, I don't know. GG, guys, I guess. I don't know what to say about invasions like this. Alright, so our next invasion actually is another 2v1 with another Password Summon Phantom, although not one that poses much of a kind of complete obstacle to carrying out the invasion. That's partly because of where they are when I find them. So I still have mob support behind me, including the rather unreliable mob support of Hodrick, who is as much a danger to me as he is to the host and the Phantom. But it's at least something distracting. Whereas in that last invasion, I had nothing but, you know, the giant slinging arrows at my back and the meme swords to my front. Yes, you know, not all Password Summon Phantoms present like an insurmountable barrier. This one's loadout is a little, I'm not sure it's bad, but it's not something that terrifies me, let's put it that way. So I think they make a mistake here of retreating to the building, which with the mob and Hodrick poses some serious problems for them. This is just not to their advantage, I don't think. White's getting absolutely destroyed, and the host dies off screen. Yeah, so sometimes invasions are easy. Thanks, Hodrick. Thanks, Machete Dude. Alright, so our last invasion for this edition of the low-level adventures of Fallax Bellator. I was surprised, frankly, at how fast some of these invasions went. I think typically, my recollection is that low-level invasions lasted longer than mid-level or high-level invasions, but that was not the case for the most part in these. Some of these were incredibly fast. I guess, but just let me know in the comments whether you'd like to see more low-level invasions. I think I'm also going to build a Soul Level 40 invader, kind of made for Cathedral of the Deep, just because I really love Undead Settlement and Cathedral of the Deep, and it's just so unreliable to invade there in those places at Soul Level 125 these days. But I'd be interested to know what people are kind of interested in watching. So here, I'm not being a very careful invader. Do you see the Phantom? I didn't. That was pretty nice. I mean, I know there was no pot there. I just didn't notice him until it was much too late. So this is a pretty fun little fight I had here with these two. Phantom's Password Summon, but loadout doesn't seem too crazy. Got the Llewellyn shield, which you definitely don't get till later, but you know, we're not dealing with the meme swords or the you know, Ring Knight straight sword or anything crazy like that. Look at the very sloppy face tank parry there. He's having a lot of success with face tank parries this night. Able to catch him on the roll catch. And the frostbite does in the host. But thanks for watching, everybody. I had a lot of fun with these, so I think we'll do at least one more of these. Thanks a lot.